What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to be profiling Toon Deck for the April 2016 format. Let me start off by saying this is not a meta deck. You do not want to play this in a tournament. You do not want to think you're going to win games with this deck, because you probably will not. That being said, it's really fun and really nostalgic for players like myself that played when Yu-Gi-Oh! First started being a thing. Alright, let's get into it. We're going to start off with two of the new guy, Red Eyes Toon Dragon. He kind of adds more consistency to the deck and gives you a little more field presence. He has, let me start by saying, he has the same clause as all the other Toons except one that I'll show you. They cannot attack the turn that they are summoned. So, this card will allow you to special summon a Toon from hand once per turn, so it lets you get your bigger guys out without trouble. And he can actually get another copy of himself out, which is cool because you just go Toon Dragon, and then whatever other Toon you might have in your hand. He just came out in Shining Victories. And in the next set, we're getting Toon Dark Magician, which is going to make this deck even cooler. Next up, two Toon Cyber Dragons. Same thing, can't attack the turn he's summoned, but he has the original Cyber Dragon effect, which is if you don't control any monsters and your opponent does, you can special summon him from your hand. He's good just to like fix a broken field or to go into the extra deck if you do. You really don't want to with this deck. Next up, Toon Dark Magician Girl. Now this is the only Toon that can attack the turn she's summoned, and yeah, this is quite the long effect. Her special summon condition is that you tribute a Toon monster on your side of the field while Toon World is on the field, or Toon Kingdom in our case. And it's a special summon, so you could theoretically normal summon a level 4 Toon, tribute it, special summon her, and attack directly. That's why she's good. That's why she's decent at 2. You could cut this down to 1. She's not the strongest play in your deck, but we have her at 2 just to keep the monster count up and consistent. Next up, the draw engine of the deck. My favorite card in the deck, Toon Mass Sorcerer. He's only a 900 attack level 4, but if you can keep him on the field for a turn and get an attack off, every time you inflict battle damage, you get to draw a card. So that's great. It lets you get through your deck. It's good. Next up, we run 2 of the Toon Gemini Elf. I cut this down from 3 to 2 because in this format with Monarchs and BA, PK Fire running around, and even Cosmos, everybody really uses their graveyard. So, her effect that when she does damage, she discards a card from your opponent's hand to grave, it's not as relevant as it was in, say, last format with Pendulums running amok. So yeah, she's still good at 2. She's a 900 beater at level 4. That's nothing to laugh at. So, 2 Gemini Elf. 1 of the Toon Goblin Attack Force, just because that's a 2300 level 4 that you could just normal summon, and your opponent's gonna have to find some way over him. He's our last Toon of the deck. His effect is cool because once he attacks, he switches to defense position, and you don't take any battle damage when he's in defense, obviously. For the last monster, 1 Effect Veiler, just to stop your opponent's Castel, really, because this deck loses really, really hard to Castel. This is the reason why. 3 Toon Kingdom. Now, this is the card that kind of made this deck playable again. When you activate it, you have to banish 3 cards from the top of your deck face down. So, it is a steep cost of activation, but its effect is as follows. If a Toon monster on your side of the field would be destroyed, you can banish a card from the top of your deck instead, and that's not a once per turn thing. So if your opponent goes Dark Hole, banish for the amount of Toons. Regeki, banish for the amount of Toons. Also, it makes them untargetable, so that's really good in this format. Obviously, with as long as your opponent doesn't get like a Cosmojo or an Erebus on you, you're sitting pretty. Yep. And then to get to the Toon Kingdom, we run 3 Terraformings and 3 Toon Table of Contents. Now, this doesn't clog because you can use Toon Table of Contents to search for any Toon card. So if you open both of these, you just Terraforming for Toon Kingdom, and then Toon Table of Contents, get whatever Toon monster you might need, or one of the Toon spell traps. To protect our kingdom, we have 2 magic reflectors because Twin Twisters is played in every deck. And this will put a counter on top of your kingdom and protect it from being destroyed. Again, more Twin Twisters protection, Magic Deflector. Although this will negate Toon Kingdom's effect for the rest of the turn, thereby leaving your Toon monsters open to destruction and targeting, it will leave it on the field so that you can continue to make your plays. It's also very good against Monarchs, stop their Stormforth and their Domain. Next up, more Castell hate. XYZ Encore. This is a great card. I don't know why more people don't run it. When your opponent, you target an opponent's monster that has Xyz materials and send it back to the extra deck. The materials go to grave and then get summoned back out, but at 1 level lower. So some decks might not even run rank 3 Xyz monsters, or you can really stop decks dead in their tracks with this, and it stops Castell. So yeah, protect your kingdom at all costs. Next up, a card that's super broken in this deck is Moon Mirror Shield, and the reason it's broken is you do play weak monsters. So if you summon this guy, give him a Moon Mirror Shield, anytime he battles an opponent's monster, he becomes that monster's attack plus 100. I don't even need to tell you why that's good. That just, your Toons can't die at that point. 2 Comic Hand, because this card wins games. You equip it to an opponent's monster and take control of it. The only activation criteria is that Toon World has to be on the field, or Toon Kingdom rather. So yeah, you could even take control of an opponent's Dark Destroyer and tribute it off for your for anything, or just use it and swing directly, because this card does turn it into a Toon monster. It says the monster is treated as a Toon, so you can protect it with Kingdom, and it can attack directly if your opponent doesn't control any Toons, just like all the others. Next up for the trap. Oh wait, couple more spell cards. We got Swords of Revealing Light, because this deck does take a little bit to get going, and your Toons can't attack the turn they're summoned, so this protects them. And Dimensional Fissure, which was a tech I thought would work really well in this deck and against the meta, because against Cosmos they don't get their floating effects, against BA they don't get their graveyard effects, and Erebus and the Squires don't get to hit Grave for their effects when you play Monarch, so it's really good against every deck this format. Now, we play 2 Toon Briefcase because shuffling in an opponent's monster is pretty funny, especially if they use a lot of resources to get it out. The criteria for this is that you have to control a Toon monster. So even if you don't have your kingdom on board, you could set this with a with any Toon monster on board, and you have some protection. Also, it doesn't target, which is very important in this format. We run 1 Toon Mask. What this does is when your opponent has a big monster, level-wise, like a 8 or a 7, you can special summon a Toon monster from deck that's that level or lower. It does say any level, but you want to use it to get out your Red Eyes, or your Toon Dark Magician Girl, or your Cyber Dragon most of the time, because those are hard to summon on their own. Well, not Cyber Dragon as much, but yeah. Toon Mask, good at 1 because you do need to control Toon Kingdom, and it can be cloggy if you run more. To round out the deck, the classics. Torrential Tribute, Mirror Force, and Vanity's Emptiness. Vanities is great protection in this deck because things won't really be leaving your side of the field unless you Effect Veiler them. Mirror Force, protection, and Torrential Tribute acts as a Regeki in this deck if you have Toon World or Toon Kingdom on board, so that's really good. We do play a small extra deck. I wouldn't recommend going into it at all, but it's there if you need it. A big eye because it's fairly easy to get 2 level 7s with the Toon Red Eyes and the 1 Flare Metal, just because. And because we run 2 Toon Cyber Dragons, we have Nova and Infinity. Thanks for tuning in. This is South Florida Yu-Gi-Oh! Signing out.